What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. This is the Deep Corner, episode 20. I'm Rob St. Clair, and joining me today is a very special guest from Team LVC and also using his graphic design chops for the VLA, Mr. Eric Martin. Welcome to the show.
Hello, how's it going? Honored to be here.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for hopping on. A really nice hoodie, by the way.
Yeah, I got to represent best league,
That's right.
best league in the U.S.
We'll get to a bunch of graphic design stuff in a little bit because you have
Yeah, man.
a unique, set of hands on that whole situation. But
Yeah.
first of all, how's quarantine treating you, man? We can't really do anything. We can't get out and play. Are you going insane or what?
Yeah, it's a little different not having volleyball in your life, right? So right now, I'm sure I'd be coaching somewhere. Yeah, what is it, Thursday? I'd probably be just coming home from coaching. So yeah, it's a little quieter. It is a little bit of a nice change to be home for once in a while, hang out with a bucket, and But
This game
other
sends
than
us a
that,
lot of places. We travel a lot.
yeah, I am. I am definitely missing it. Don't get me wrong, but it's nice. It is nice to see the other side sometimes and have that downtime that you're not used to having. And driving my wife crazy, convincing her to let me do some projects and stuff like that she might not want me to do, and working that in. So making a planter box next, tomorrow. So we'll
Oh,
see
there
how
you
that
go.
goes. Yeah, but getting back into some music, hitting the piano behind me a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about
So,
that a little bit later. We've kind of got that little thing in common too.
yeah, I know, man. I know you jam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's awesome, dude.
so let's start kind of at the beginning for you. Where does your volleyball journey begin? And the people might not be able to tell just by looking at you, but I think if I'm not mistaken, you're the oldest player on any VLA roster. So we're gonna get to that.
Uh,
But I think you are because
um,
you've got Loy by about a year, and
I do.
unless yeah you do, and unless Lauren Gebert suits up, I think you've got
Right.
him.
Yeah. 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 72, December 72. So I
Wow.
thought it was around the same time as Loy, but yeah, in Relat, I think I got like a year on or something, like a couple months. But yeah, probably started way back, goofing around back in before you guys were born, and church camp in the Poconos in Pennsylvania with the old pink-eyed dig ball that everybody markered up,
Oh man.
and finally convinced my parents that I would study if I could play sports. So we had men's volleyball, boys volleyball in high school in Easton, Pennsylvania. So uh, finally convinced them to let me do it, and got in 11th grade, and then played 12th grade my senior year, and then obviously everybody gets the bug, so started playing club in college at James Madison, and was a little bit better physically, so could jump pretty well. So did a little of everything: hitting, passing, setting. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I know you as a setter, but it doesn't surprise me to learn that in college you played a handful of different positions. Do you think that was because you were kind of the best player all around at the time, or was that kind of the way the game was at the time, where everybody kind of did everything? I don't know. I wasn't alive in the '80s.
Yeah, obviously different playing, side out volleyball with
Yeah,
the old leather Tachikara bounce ball. So, it was a lot of fun, but you had to work for it. It was just a battle of, wills, and a battle of like who could not die by the end of a 14-14 half hour, rally going back and forth and side out. But yeah, it was a little different. Everybody was more of an overall kind of player. Everybody had all the skills. I could obviously jump a little bit higher, being a little short, but it kept me competitive with some of the taller guys. So we could at least be on the same plane, if you will. So it was fun. Nowadays, though, it's just so much about speed, power, and
oh yeah.
it's actually so much fun. I'm not saying there's all these debates. I'm sure you've heard by lots of people, and a lot of my older friends, obviously, like the way it used to be, and me being able to play in both generations. I guess it's kind of fun just seeing how it evolves. The whole point is that you just got to be good anyway,
That's
regardless if
true.
it's because every level growing up, because I would play club, so you're seeing higher levels in adult volleyball, and it's always about speed and power. The height is always there, but it's the technical skills and the speed and the power. and then you add a couple of the, brain cells that make, the smarter players that much better. But, it's been real fun to watch it evolve, and it's just a beautiful game now.
It really is. Yeah, that you mentioned that's kind of the blueprint of a player now. Speed, power, ball
Yeah.
control, technical ability, and then a couple of little brain cells, and you got yourselves a volleyball
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
what's
some
after over all the years that you've played, you've seen like you mentioned from the generation when you were playing college club to kind of the way volleyball is now. Give me a couple of the big kind of milestones and what you think changed how the game was played. Because I can think of a couple steps along the way that really kind of changed the direction that volleyball was headed. But from your perspective, having played through all of it, what were some of the big ones?
it was funny because, obviously the side out or the rally scoring change completely revamped your thought process.
Yeah.
Back I could still remember, I think we were playing like some team in high school and we were down 14-10, and all jokingly in my head, I can still hear my coach yelling, don't worry about it, chip away, and that's because you're like, yeah, dude, all we have to do is just got to side out and we'll be fine. We'll get the serve back. Hopefully, get the next point, work 1 point at a time. It was just a different mentality. It was really side out, just take care of the ball side out. And nowadays, obviously, you can win on any point. So you really have to, that's where I find the skill is just a little bit better, because you can't just get away with just, hey, if I miss a serve, no big deal.
Yeah, that's true.
Now it's like everything matters. And it shows that if you have the skill, you're going to win a little bit more than the next guy. So that was an interesting change.
What year was that ish? Early 2000s?
Maybe like late 90s, something. It's obviously, you're old, it becomes a blur. But funny thing is, when I moved to the DC area, there's this thing called Chinese nine-man.
Oh, man.
I don't know if you ever heard it, right?
I certainly have.
So obviously they're like, you're Asian or Asian looking, because I'm adopted, so I don't really get the Asian things sometimes. But yeah, man. And they're like, yeah, let's go play this crazy game. And I'm like, okay. And they're playing, rally scoring to 21 on a low net, no penetration. You can throw. It was basically what sixes is almost becoming, because you could double any ball. You just didn't majorly lift. So in essence, it's really similar to the way sixes kind of played. So when all of a sudden we started playing rally, and I had been playing nine-man for a few years, like I was overhand serve receiving, no big deal, because this is what we just kind of did in nine-man, and we had some big names in nine-man. Kevin Wong was a big stud for many, many years, even when he was at, I think, UCLA. So, we had some talent, and it wasn't just like this crazy side thing that, these little Asian guys do. There were some big honking dudes that were playing at the time, and it was really competitive, really fun. So learning that, and then all of a sudden playing sixes, it was kind of like, oh, it's not that bad. It didn't hit me so hard to make that transition, because we had been doing it during the summer times. Anyway.
Okay. Nine-man, for anyone that hasn't seen it, is crazy.
Yeah.
You talked about a couple of the rules a little bit, like you can't penetrate over the net while blocking at all. But when attacking, you can kind of like grab and throw the ball to tip it a little bit, right?
You basically, as long as you get it at its peak, you can wind up and dunk it.
Yeah, and obviously there's 9 people, which is nuts. The net's a little bit low. It's wild. Look it up on YouTube. You know more about where to find good examples of it than I do, but I've seen it just a little bit. It's crazy. It's very interesting.
Yeah, because it's always after like adult nationals, and then we'll go start the 9-man summer season, and it ends in Labor Day, and it's just one of those fun, like really fun things. Good community, just like our BLA and stuff like that. So it's just always good to see people, and it's the same thing. You're seeing guys that you've played for 20 plus years, and having families, and now their kids are playing. So it's just one of those really cool, wonderful things volleyball does for you.
Oh yeah. That's what keeps us all doing it. What you in particular, at your age and at your height.
Thanks.
No offense.
I'm actually standing.
What other than the community, What keeps you doing it? You're still going out there, lacing it up, playing with the big boys, like playing with these 6'8", 22, 23, 24 year olds who have grown up playing a completely different game than you ever have. And you're going out there and whatever, if serve and sub, playing defense, setting the
Yeah.
offense sometimes, whatever you're doing, you're
Yeah.
still doing it at your age. What keeps you going?
Yeah. I think, and I'm sure you can relate to this. I played club, so that perspective of always wanting to be better, right? And I obviously didn't go to school for volleyball. I went for graphic design actually, and but still loved playing sports and music and other things. But volleyball wasn't the focus. But after college, I started playing a little bit more. It was just such a fun thing to do, and the community was so great, right? So like not having that D1 level or D2 whatever college experience, it kind of makes you a little hungry to want to like, hey, I'm decent enough. I can hang. Let me see if I can just, knock on the door, get my foot in, whatever it may be. So it's one of those things where like I was, obviously good enough where I could compete. So you showcase what you can do, you get the trust of some friends, you move up to the next level, right? So then you're always kind of hungry to be like, okay, well, I see these guys. Like, I remember going to nationals in my like early, like mid 20s or so. And, there's back then, like open nationals was basically like ex national team guys and, the studs of the world. And they're just playing for fun. And you're just going,
Whoa.
ugh. Yeah, dude, that's disgusting, right?
Yeah.
And like the big names of like the 90s and 2000s, right? So you're like, okay, well, oh, now they're starting a league up. That's cool. Let me see if, So I started playing with some guys, and I stopped playing with some of the teams in my area in Northern Virginia, and I started hooking up with Jiva. It was Jiva, but it was basically hustle and flow guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a couple studs on their team, and I was able to go in, and they were super kind to me. And I just walked in the very first tournament. I think I was like, yeah, I just want to be around good ball. You know how it is, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You just need to be around good ball. You got to learn some things, put in your dues. And they're like, what do you want to do? I'll play bro, I'll back up, whatever. And they're just like, oh yeah, go set. So I was like, okay. So I had some skilled players on the team, and we just ended up winning the tournament. And it was like one of those weird things. It was nice to see that I could use what I've learned, go in with new people, not know anything, but you know how it is. You get a little older, you get smarter, and then you realize, okay, well, it's not anything new. It's just pay attention to what people like as a setter,
Mm-hmm.
set, and then just run the offense, and it worked out.
Yeah,
So
it's just volleyball,
yeah,
which is a weird way to put it, but the thousands and thousands and thousands of touches,
yeah,
you kind of know what to do at that point.
yeah. It's funny because they had seen me play, so it wasn't like I was brand new to them. We've competed against each other, so they knew what I was about. And the same thing happened then going into LVC when basically Hustle and Flow, and I think that was like one of the first Jiva PBL teams back in the day. And I was like, well, we're not playing anymore, so let me see if I can. I remember this guy, Chris Hosley or something,
Yeah, that
and I
guy.
was just that kind of weird guy. I think he lifts weights. I don't know if he does anything
Maybe
else good,
he
but
might lift a few weights.
yeah, as long as he has his VLA shirt on, from what I remember. But but he he was like, yes, yeah, whatever, man, let's go play. So I started playing with those guys, and again, it was the same thing, just hungry to play, hungry to get better, hungry to learn. I had many weekends where Puckett was nice and let me drive up to Jersey by myself. Good
Oof.
4 hours each way, come home tired on a Sunday or whatever, and it was just putting in your dues because I love the game, and I was fortunate enough to have people that trusted me enough that we won enough tournaments together. You know how that works. So you do well, and you have a good time, and you show that you just care about the game, and it's just having a lot of fun with the right people. Chemistry's there. You kind of get opportunities to move on, and that's kind of how it worked out for me. It's just one of those things you got to put in the time though.
That's right.
You got to put in the hard work. It's not like I magically just showed up because I'm old, and you know what I mean, and they needed like a mascot or something on the side of clap. But I mean, I do that pretty well anyway.
Sure do.
But again, it shows, like you said, they trust me enough to throw me in when they need. Sometimes it's important, sometimes it's not, but it's again, it's just doing my job when I need and helping the team and, being around some of the best players in the world.
Yeah, surrounding yourself with good ball is something I can absolutely relate to. It's why I just love coming to all the events with you guys. Like even if I'm not playing, which I would love to be, but like commentating
Right.
is just as much fun for me, just because I'm so engrossed with the game all the time. It's just a blast. Everyone just loves being around it, and being around the guys in particular is such a
Yeah.
great part of it.
Yeah,
So
and that's an amazing point too, because the camaraderie that
yes,
I've always found that really interesting. Because again, not having that college experience other than club, club is a little different. Um, Seeing how everybody's so cool with everybody, they appreciate the talent. You see somebody on your side, and you can actually smile and joke, and it's not necessarily about being bitter or mad that they're beating you. You just kind of appreciate it, and it's one of those things. Coaching, you can kind of teach that. Respect your opponents. Don't necessarily get bitter because they might be kicking your ass at that moment.
yeah,
Understand what they're doing so well,
yeah,
and
it's
maybe
true.
try to figure out how to counter versus getting so mad. So it's one of those things, coaching, all the experience, you can kind of give back a little bit.
I think there's something about volleyball in particular that just lends itself to that. I can't, it's hard to put a finger on it, but it's so much easier for me in volleyball than any other sport that I can think of to, be playing, like be in a bitter, like intense competition against someone. And then later
Yeah.
that day, you're like just kicking it on the sidelines, or you go out and meet
Yeah.
up and with everyone else and you're out for the night. I don't know
Yeah.
how it lends itself to that just like magical community. That's just the way it is. It's amazing.
Yeah, there's that respect level for the most part, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Obviously,
It's a respect
not
thing.
everybody's going to get along, but we get that. But like for the most part, the everybody's respecting everybody, and that's one of those things I found interesting too, from playing from lower levels all the way up to VLA level. All that goes away when you play with the guys that are really good.
A bunch of people have said that exact thing, and I think that's really interesting. Is like once you
Yeah.
get to the exact same level in that moment, your resume
Hmm.
and your background doesn't matter at all. You're
Yeah.
there. You are where you are,
Yeah.
and you're playing with who you're playing with, and that's your opportunity to just kind of show what you got. And nobody's going to care about
Yeah.
if you played college club.
Dude, it's so spot on, because like even some of my friends that I talk, that ask me how's it going, and I say that's one of those key things I always found, like nobody's judging anybody. You're
That's right.
there for a reason, and because you're somehow there, nobody's going to give you any shit. They just go, let's go, let's have fun. We trust that you have a certain skill set, and go do it.
Yep, that's it.
And
So
all the other levels, everybody, how it is. Everybody's scratching and clawing and thinking they're better than this and talking smack and puffing out their chest, and you're just like, bro, man, come on, man. This is like, we're just it's a weekend. It's a weekend, right? For fun,
right,
right?
yeah. In adult volleyball, just that just doesn't happen like it does at the levels when people are really trying to make a name for themselves. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it happens.
of all the years and years and years that you've played and coached and whatever, I'm wondering if you have a story that stands out about where you've let's say played above your height that's listed on the roster. Do you, do you have a story where like I don't know somebody is taking this little Asian guy trying to block him or something for granted and you come out of nowhere and make a great move on someone? I don't know. I feel like
Yeah,
after all the years you've got to have a story about that, right?
yeah. There's probably like two or three or so, but um, God, what was it? One of my buddies, Sean Callahan, he played at Club at Tech, and he remembers these stories better than I even
I
do.
know
But
Sean. Yeah, Sean.
yeah,
Sean coach.
Callie,
Yeah, Sean coaches Tech still.
Tex. Yep,
I really
yep.
like that guy. Yeah, he coached against me in college.
He's roofed the crap out of me because he was a great middle blocker back in the day, and I was the outside hitter. Yeah, and yeah, so we obviously connected up after graduating and everything, and we would play some of these Asian tournaments, but it was sixes, right? So it was kind of like the same 9-man community, but in winter time, right? And they'd have some cash tournaments and stuff like that. And there was this one dude, because I was hitting outside at the time. So there's this one dude on the other side. This right side or whatever, looks at the setter, and he kind of goes, "Man, give me the ball,
Are you
man.
serious?
Look at this little turd over here, man." And I'm of course just I'm oblivious around. I'm just like, "Hey, how's it going?" And my buddy Callahan, who was playing middle, just goes, grabs me. He's like, "Did you hear what he just said?" And I was like, what? What? He's like, he said, he's going to hit over you. And I was like, what? You know, and I was like 20 something. So I'm just going, ah, no way, dude.
I'll go get
You're
him.
not going to hit over me. Yeah, no. You know, and of course I'm starting to puff out my chest. I'm going, okay, all right, here. Go ahead. You set him. So he just throws up, you know, one of these back sets. And obviously I could jump a little bit better and, you know, basically reached over in the net and clamped the boy and he had no chance. And it was just like one of those, it lands faster than, you
Than
know, on
either
the
of the
ground.
players do. Oh,
Yeah, and my feet were still in the air, and we're just all looking at him. And my buddy just goes nuts, like Larry Moe Curly, just looking at him, going, "I told you not to set him. Why did you set him? You're such an idiot." And I just started laughing. I'm like, it was just one of those times where you're like, yeah, you know, it worked out.
oh man, you just
But, yeah.
live for those. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was just one of those funny moments where it all worked out in your favor that time because this guy's talking smack, and you're like, oh really? Go ahead. You might win, but not this time.
Yeah, he may have. I don't care what the result of the match was. You got him that one time.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and I don't think they ever said him again. I was
That's
like,
right.
Stop.
That's right.
Just stop.
That's over
Please
at that
stop.
point.
You're embarrassing yourself.
Oh man. All right. I tried this with Marsh on my last interview, which was really fun.
Marshy.
It's this little segment of super quick, like quick hitting interview questions that I hit him with. So prepare yourself. I'm about to just throw these at you really quick and just give me kind of the first answer that comes into your head. You ready for this?
All right, man. All right. I'm old. Just take it with a grain of salt. I'm
All right.
focusing here.
Early mornings or late nights?
Late night.
Best pregame warm-up song?
Ooh. I like classical music, so it would be something classical.
That's pretty lame, but I appreciate that as a musician.
Thank you.
Hey, I got you. What's the worst day of the week?
Probably moon days.
Okay. What's better, stuff block or service ace?
Can I say tie?
No.
Ace.
Okay. What's the best post-tournament meal?
Oh, pizza.
That's exactly what Marsh said.
Yeah.
What's the hard?
Many pieces of pizza with Marshall.
Right. What's the hardest position in volleyball?
Middle.
What's your favorite jersey number?
I'll say 13 now. That's what I rep for LVC.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Come on, man. I have
Pick
two
one.
cats, so I'll just go with cats.
Nice.
I love dogs. I'm just saying.
I like cats too. I'm definitely a cat guy. What's the ideal height? What height do you wish you could be?
Not 5'5". Let's go with 5'10".
Okay.
I know that's not a lot, but for me,
yeah, it's all relative. What's your favorite sports team of all time?
anything Philly.
Okay. And what's stronger, loving winning or hating losing?
Probably hating losing.
I actually love that question. I'm really fascinated by people's answers to that question.
Well, it sees everybody's mindset, right? Because it's funny because if you think about it, when you do win, this is not for everybody, obviously, but for me, it's like, isn't that what we were supposed to do? Now I love that we won. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's like we're here to win. So like when you do win, it's like, oh, I appreciate it. Hashtag blessed.
Yes, mission accomplished.
Yeah, but that's what we came out to do. So let's go have a beer and let's go on to the next. But like when you don't win, you're kind of like, I'm one of those guys that like, okay, well, on that play, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Over analytical. But yeah, the hating the lose kind of drives you to kind of get that win sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I love hearing people's responses to that. I also found it interesting that you said middle was the hardest position. It's funny because Marshman said that setter was the hardest position.
That's respect, right?
It is. It is respect.
The amount the middles do without sometimes getting the reward or actually even that thought of how they impacted the play.
We talked about that exact thing in my interview with Marsh. It's cool to hear you say that, having probably never played middle.
Well, look, as a setter, it's like, the easiest thing to do is set the middle, set the stage, right?
Yeah.
It's the easiest correlation is, okay, you set up the run in football so you can play action pass.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
It's a no-brainer. It's so obvious.
Very
right?
good analogy.
But if you don't run the middle's going to go, knows exactly where you're going to go, lean in left and right, whatever, right side, left side, doesn't matter. So if you establish that middle and you just make that middle hesitate for just enough time with the way the ball is played now with this, like we're talking about speed. you don't have to run these 1980 combo plays when you're when you're running. Hey guys, let's run the X play
Yeah,
because
run
it's
the
so
X.
cool. Let's do the inside out. Like come on, like okay, was it fun? Absolutely, but it's not the way the game is now. All you need to do is just to mess with the other opponent's middle, and as soon as that middle leans or shifts, you have so many options. The way the players are so freaking
Yeah,
dynamic
you've got them
nowadays.
right where you want them.
Is this if the setter's smart enough to realize how the middle's leaning, what you've been setting in the past couple sets, how to go away, counter flow, all the stuff that everybody knows. But those are the things that make it easy, and that's what the middle is so hard to establish and to have that middle transition left and right. I mean, think about it. I'm a setter, right? Maybe I'm in front row, maybe I'm back row. I kind of, guys are so good at passing, I just walk up and set the ball. You know what I'm saying?
How hard could it
So,
be?
yeah, I mean, and maybe it's a slight bit more brain power. I'll maybe concede that, but like the middle's physically doing so much stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Middle is physically really, really difficult, especially the blocking area of the
Yeah,
game. Marsh gave a nice little crash course on like kind of how to read block at the high levels. It's really hard.
yeah,
It's very,
yeah.
very hard.
Think about all the progressions that are going right.
Yeah.
You got to take care. You got to take care of your middle, know who the hot guy in the back row, and then what's going in the front row, and what's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
And not to overcommit and stay neutral. How do you stay neutral when there's 4 or 5
You
attacking?
don't. You don't.
Right? So
It's a hard job.
yeah, yeah.
So you nailed the quick hitting questions, by the way. Well
Thank
done.
God. Thank
Um,
God.
so I want to talk about your kind of creative half of your life a little bit. Let's the music
Yeah.
thing first, because you and I definitely have that in common. You told me
Yeah.
earlier you were playing trumpet, right, all through college.
Yeah, I did the whole played the piano
Yeah.
and then I picked up the trumpet and played trumpet all the way through college. I mean, I did laugh here. I did, the marching band. I did
Oh yeah.
pep bands and basketball. I did the show choir band, man. Dude, we toured around over
Sweet.
spring break. Like
Wow.
I played in the Americana stage on Epcot. Like we did a gig there, man.
I actually
So
did too. I did that in high school.
yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Like it's so wild, right? It's crazy because you're here's what I love, right? I was lucky enough to have a teacher who was like the ultimate professional, right? So, and I credit a lot of the things that I learned, and I try to teach in volleyball to kind of the way he taught me how to play trumpet, right? And it's always, it's not, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
That's right.
And, you do all your hard work while you're practicing, right? That's where you burn, you churn, right? And you make your mistakes and you're okay with the process. But then when you go out and play, you just put on a show. You entertain your audience. You're not worried about flubs. Man, it happens all the time, right? But you try your best to put on a show for your audience. And it's the same thing in coaching, right? You got to tell these girls that mistakes are okay. It's okay to go through the process because these are, 13, 14, 15, 16, even 17-year-old girls, right? They're so worried about coaches yelling and making mistakes instead of just going, I'm just here to learn. And if I can play free and have fun, put on a show, it'll all work out, right? So I was lucky. My teacher was like, doing Glenn Miller Orchestra, playing
Ooh,
perfect. Like, yeah, like he calls me up.
big
He's like,
time
hey
trumpet
man,
player.
yeah, I can't make the lesson. I'm going out to London to direct the Glenn Miller Orchestra. I'm like, yeah, I'll take this week off, I guess, man. It's pretty rad, dude. It's like and it just was taught to me at a very young age how to do something you love the right way.
That's
And
I seem to draw a lot of comparisons with being a musician and being an athlete in general, but for some reason it just correlates to volleyball for me. And a lot of the reasons is like what you were saying, because being a musician is very, very technical, and learning the skills to be a high level volleyball player is similarly very technical. And the way that you have to kind of process and learn those things and just like you said, just burn it out in the practice format is honestly really similar. And when you're on stage or when you're on the court, it's just, execute and have a great time.
yeah, you're just putting on another concert, man. I
That's
mean,
yeah.
whether you're part of the band, one of the soloists, whatever, it's just like, you're learning a bass lick, right? You're not going to learn like 8 bars. You're going to start with 3 or 4, right? Or whatever the hard one is, right? Then you learn the one before to lead up so that you can, work your way to it. So you do serve and pass, pass,
Yeah,
right? Then
you
you work
break
on
it
pass set,
down. You
right?
break it down to the most manageable level, the one that you can understand, and then you nail that, and then you move up.
Hmm.
It's the same thing. It's the
And,
same thing.
yeah, and you're so right about the technical part, right? Because everybody has their idea of what technical is, so that's great, and it's wonderful that we all share it, and you learn that what you learn it the right way. Whatever your coach is trying to tell you, hopefully it's the right way.
Yeah,
But yeah, but you figure out how to be so technical. I have a it just reminds me, one of my buddies I used to play with, when I first moved here, he used to call me Technical E, and I think he still does it now and then when he sees me, right? Or we catch up or whatever, and he's just like, because I cared about being so technically sound because I'm a shorter, smaller player. I have to make up
it's true.
what I don't have in height and maybe speed by being technically proficient. And like you said, it just easily translates from music to volleyball, or
Yeah,
does, or at least volleyball. I mean, I'm sure it does for other sports, but just the way your mentality has to be thinking, right, and being so technical that it's just like practicing, your
yeah.
instrument, right, and getting on
I
your axe and
Yep. I personally think of both music and volleyball in a very left-brained way. Like I'm thinking about very kind of breaking it down and logically, sort of, and
mhm.
less creatively thinking than the average musician, which is okay because it kind of translates into people's styles of being a musician, styles of volleyball play. But
Right.
also another cool thing that blends the ideas of left brain technical proficiency with right brain, like pull it out of thin air creativity, is
Yes.
graphic design,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
which is what you went to school for,
Yeah.
and you've been kind of the guy that the VLA has leaned on so far for a bunch of our graphics. So
Yeah.
I want to break that down a little bit. First of all, are you responsible for the logo that you're wearing right now?
Uh, yeah, yeah. I did it on this computer that I'm talking on now. Coley, I think it was back one of the tournaments, sometime last year, and we were all chatting, and some of the directors getting together, and I kind of told Coley, I was like, look, I have such a good time with all this, man. If you need any help with anything, I can provide this, and I actually can help with design stuff. And she was like, noted.
Yeah.
So so she was like, hey, so Vince has been wonderful too. So Vince is pretty much, doing the media. So anything kind of he needs, I've been able to work up for him. So like I said, anything to help out the VLA, it's just been, it's an honor to do it. So it's anything I can do, help out.
Yeah, let's break it down a little more, and because I've always been really interested in kind of sports graphics and sports aesthetics,
Hmm.
and logos, typefaces, uniforms, like the whole thing, the whole branding of the thing. Oh yeah, show that
Yeah,
logo off.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like talk through me a little bit what you did there with that logo. First, like
Yeah.
talk typeface, talk color theory, talk like the star and the A, the whole thing. Like what were you thinking there?
Yeah. Well, to their credit, like Vincent Coley had some ideas already outlined, so that made it easier for me being them being the customer. So they kind of came back with, okay, well, we kind of want to go with this. We know we kind of want to do this X, Y, and Z, right? So that made it easy, and we wanted to definitely make. We didn't want to overdo anything. If that makes sense, right? Some of the best logos. I went to. I think I remember going in college. I went to a class where the WWF, the Panda logo designer. If I wish I could remember his name, but I took a class from him, and it was all about the three R's, right? It's reusable, reducible, and another one, right? Because I'm so stupid. Um, so you just keep. It's just like the Nike logo, right?
Yep,
Why does everybody love the Nike logo, right? It's recognized. Sorry, there it is. Recognizable,
that's it. Yeah.
first R. Reducible, which means you can use it on any application. You know, so what did I say? Reducible,
Recognizable and
yeah, reducible. Uh, I should have wrote
is
this down.
reusable the other one? Because well, yeah, you've nailed it. You've pinpointed the
Yeah,
things about kind of what makes a great
yeah.
brand icon.
It's just
It's
like Apple,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Simple is
Simple.
better, right? So we were just trying to strive for something that didn't need to be overdone, overspoken, simple, but yet. So we had a bunch of versions and stuff like that, and we had some other elements to the logo, and it's almost like one of those things where you have to almost do those kind of things that everybody thinks might happen, just so you can prove that you don't want that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So we whittled similar this layout, and basically because of the simplicity of the typeface, which I'm not remembering off the top of my head, it might be like a Verdana or something like that. But what I try to do is just use the angles in the V's, and then I basically inverted this V, put a star in, and then chiseled out. So then you could see the negative space going through the L. So then it just had this nice little kind of comfortable feel where, again, it's not overspoken. You know it right away. It can be shrunk to as small as it needs to be. The reusable part is that even though we wanted to go with like a 2 kind of color scheme here, you can make it a 1 color.
Easy.
You can make it anything you want, and it's not restrictive. So it can have personality along with somebody else. So like a Team Pineapple can have yellow and green for all we care, because it doesn't matter. It's not going to break one of those things where like other logos might have to have it has to be all 1 color. It has to be all 2. So we wanted to have something that has a lot of flexibility within that logo. So we can make it 1 color. You can make it 2 color. You can make, as long as it's either, like the 2 and 1, we're good. Doesn't matter. Or all 1, but it doesn't matter what color. So again, it just makes it easier for across any application.
Yeah, you guys nailed it on the details too. Like you said, inverting the V, having the perfectly parallel lines between the slants of the V and the A there, the little negative space over the L, the angles of the star. I think it's perfect. You nailed it on the little details that make something more comfortable and familiar feeling, I think, from a graphics point of view.
Yeah, it wasn't so simple where we're just like keying in 3 letters and calling it a day. There was a little bit of thought behind it, but again, it's just enough where, like you said, it makes it feel good, makes it feel comfortable. You kind of enjoy it. Simple enough. I would always go back and forth when I see the logo and people are wearing the shirt or whatever, and I was like, could I've done more? But the more I think about it, I'm still sitting with it with a good feeling, if you will. Yeah. So I'm not thinking we needed to have more or less. It's just about right. And it's, obviously it's on me because I'm the one doing it. So I always have these thoughts in my head. So, but other than that, it's working and everybody's enjoying it. So that's all you can ask for.
Job well done.
Yeah.
Good. I don't know if you've seen all of these so far, but on the VLA Volleyball Instagram, we've got all 5 teams have their uniforms released. I wanted to get a little bit of your thoughts on these. Did you have any input to these, by the way, or was that all Smack Sportswear?
I had a little input. So 3 of the teams I designed.
Okay. Which 3?
Obviously we did LVC. Mm-hmm. And then because I was working with Vince, so
I'm looking at him here on my phone.
Yeah. So I did Ascension, and I actually he needed help with a new logo, so he wanted to get his logo updated. So I updated that logo.
Solid.
And then it just carried on into the whole, hey, let's just do the uniform. So theirs came out real sweet, man. Just the kind of the way we could use that logo almost as a base for a uniform. And then
here it is. It's that one.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So, again, it's not overdone. It's just well done enough. You know what I mean? So
it's going to look sweet when those get out on the court.
Oh, yeah. And then the Iceman ones. So Tim asked if I could help out with that. And that was actually a real fun process because, we did a little bit of tweaking to their old logo, again, which was one of those things where you could recognize what it was, but we needed to simplify it. So we kind of worked a few iterations on simplifying it to the point where, okay, it was just where we needed it, maybe 2-3 colors, but we could knock it down to 2. It was still, usable everywhere. And then doing his uniforms, just kind of incorporating that kind of Top Gun feel without, completely making it Top Gun, but almost, enough where they really wanted it. So the colors came out nice, and they're all 3, all the uniforms are freaking awesome.
They're sweet.
Smack does a great job, right?
They're sweet.
But obviously I'll love those 3 slightly more.
Yeah, everyone go check those out. And if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment. Give us your power rankings on the uniform. Give us a 1 through 5. Everybody who's watching this, I'm really curious to see what's on the top of everyone's list. I honestly can't really pick right now on my own.
they're all pretty good. I mean, obviously, I'm biased to the
Dude,
flamingos
the
because
flamingo is so tight.
my
Flamingo is so
my
cool.
man, yeah, yeah,
It,
it's so
and I'm
fun.
not just saying that because Hosley sent me a LVC flamingo sweatshirt.
That guy. It's good to have a heat press. That's all I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah, that helps. All right. But before we get you out of here, I want to ask an interesting graphics question. Take your time on this. What do you think in like professional sports, maybe ever? Give me your top three, or maybe top five, like sports uniform team looks of all time, like logo, uniforms, like typefaces, word marks, kind of the whole like brand identity. If you have a top couple sports teams of all time, let me hear your thoughts.
See, that's so tough, right? I
And
grew up
bonus
near.
points if they're not from Philly.
Damn it. I will say this. One of my favorites is the Philadelphia Flyers
Oh,
logo.
the Flyers are outstanding. The black and orange.
Right. Yeah, but so I don't know if you've noticed this, but their puck with the wings logo that hasn't changed since 1965 or whatever. Whenever they came to the league, 66. That is the same exact logo, and that again is why that brand is so powerful because they haven't needed to change anything. It's simple enough; it gets the point across, and you can change. You can work with any application. So it's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's one of those wonderful things. It's been around for a long, long time. It's super fantastic. Um, trying to think what other sports. I I actually thought the remember when the Broncos changed to their uniform? I think that's
In
now.
the Elway years, yeah, with
Yeah, right. Yeah, right as he was getting the
90,
Super Bowl.
98, yeah, because they beat the Packers that year, which
Yeah.
sucks because I'm a big Packers fan. Yeah, that was the very first year of the navy, the kind of modern looking, the continuous orange stripe up the sides,
Yeah,
and
and
the
I
Bronco logo on the helmet's always been really good.
and I think that was one of those starting of the trends of you know simplifying but making it modern,
Yeah,
sleeker. And it was one of those first ones that really hit right because it was used to be the big D with the Bronco coming out through it, but this one was just so sleek and so nice. And then the way they did the colors, just really it really stood out, and that kind of almost broke the trend. And then
it
everybody
did.
wanted to jump on
That's
that
right. Yeah,
bandwagon.
that style that kind of wrote the book for the 2000s decade of football
Yeah,
uniforms. And my criticism of it is that they still have the same one. It might be kind of time for a change in the year 2020. But yeah,
yeah,
pretty much the whole half the NFL adopted
yeah,
that, and all of the NCAA, by the way, adopted that kind of
right.
look starting in 02, 03. They all kind of got on that simple,
Oh yeah.
modern kind of look. That's a good call on that one.
Yeah, because it did set the trend, and everybody had that. Okay, well, I need to make my Falcon look even sleeker. One other one without doing a Philly team, man, that is impossible.
How about basketball? I've got a couple in mind.
um, I I thought I thought the way the Mavericks did theirs, and that might have been in that same vein way back. It was just a little more unique. The way they kind of converted that horse into the horse.
The horse of the
You know,
basketball.
yeah, yeah. I thought that was pretty good. But I'll tell you what I did like. I like the Raptors, the way they did the basketball with
Oh,
the
with like the
dinosaur claws
claw.
coming
That's
through.
that's a sweet logo. That's an
Yeah, because
outstanding logo.
yeah, and that one I thought did a really good job. And the other ones are all real good. It's just ones are unique. So that one obviously can really works well because it's a Raptor, it's a basketball. It all syncs up really quickly and easily. And
Yeah,
like that, you're going, oh yeah, duh, of course it makes sense.
duh.
But you don't think about it. You just think it's a basketball, and then you go, oh, it's like a Raptor.
Yeah,
Well,
the best
ah,
logos are the
duh.
ones that when like the instant they release them, when they update them, you're like, oh yeah, it's like I've been looking at that for years. I know exactly what team that
Yeah,
belongs to. And with the
yeah,
VLA logo, that thing's going to be on our stuff for years and years and years. Like, oh yeah,
yeah,
I know exactly what that is.
yeah. Let's
The
hope, right?
Right, yeah. The more people we have watching these interviews, the more people we have watching matches when we get back on the floor. That logo is going to be a lot of places. So
Can't wait.
yeah, you people watching this, you've got this guy E to thank for the logo that you're about to be seeing all over the place.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. It's just like I said, it's good to be part of VLA, man. Just whatever I can do. It's a great group of guys. Everybody's on, just all in.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've it's a tough time that we can't put matches out on the floor, but as soon as we can,
Yeah.
we will. Everybody stay tuned to all our socials. We're gonna have some COVID related updates coming out in the next week or two. I don't even know. But when that does happen, I'll get someone in the know on the show to kind of explain what's going on. So stay tuned. In the meantime, E, thanks so much for joining us, man.
My man.
We will see
Absolutely.
we will see you the next time that it's safe to do so, and we'll see everyone else in the next episode.
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna jump on the mic with you one time because
Oh,
I keep trying to scare you, but I'm gonna actually do it
I would
because
love
I'm getting
that.
old, man. I gotta do something else, right?
I would love that. I love having people talk volley with me. It's my favorite thing to
Yeah,
do.
dude. Yeah, you do so well. We really appreciate all the stuff you do. So thank you for all your stuff, and support and all your work,
Thank you,
man. It's
man.
awesome.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it means a lot.
just sucks we can't hang out, man.
Soon.
Yeah, dude.
All right, everyone.
Absolutely.
We'll see you all in the next episode. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you later.